Good morning, everybody. For anybody I didn't get a chance to introduce myself to, my name is Tom Claude. I have the distinction of being the CEO of the TMX Group. And first, I'd like to welcome everybody here to the TMX and to our broadcast center. We are extremely pleased and, frankly, feel very privileged to be part of today's event for the Social Venture Connection, or if you'll allow me to call it the SVX, because we like acronyms in this business. So if it's okay, I'm going to use SVX. I'd like to send a very special welcome to Ilse Trunick, who's the CEO of the Mars Discovery District, and Minister Eric Hoskins for being here today. Thank you very much. This has been a long journey. The basic idea, as I understand it, actually predates me coming to the TMX Group, but I guess it was floated, if I'm not mistaken, about 6 years ago. Importantly, funding was secured from the Government of Ontario for a feasibility study shortly thereafter. That was a very important event, and thank you to the Government of Ontario for that very forward-looking investment. The Mars Center for Impact Investing then put people and resources to work on this project. A team of volunteers, and I'm personally quite proud to say that includes a group of TMX leaders, a legal counsel from Tories, and a host of internal people from Mars then worked to build the platform. New funding came in from various foundations and organizations, and I'm also proud to say the TMX Group was part of that funding arrangement. And then the Ontario Securities Commission, after careful scrutiny, approved the approach and the platform, and here we are today. When we committed to this project, we did so because we felt that Canada should lead the way in social and impact investing, and we're very committed to that cause. With today's launch, we're charting an important and a new path forward. With the creation of SVX, we hope to place Canada at the forefront of social investing, right where Canada belongs, at the forefront of yet another important part of investing. And we look forward to continuing the work with SVX and with Mars to help build a unique model to help mobilize private capital to drive social and environmental impact. So thank you very much. I'll now turn it over to Ilse to say a few words, and then we'll continue with the program. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Tom.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, and really on behalf of everybody at Mars, we just want to say how pleased we are to be here today. As most of you know, the future of Canada, and particularly its economic and social prosperity, depends on innovation. And we're right in the guts of that process, and we work across different lens scales. We try to make sure the innovators are fully equipped to do their thing. We focus on the high-impact, high-growth businesses that are the little points of light in the modern economies, and we try to change systems so that we can be better at scaling and diffusing innovation. And so within that sort of foundation, the SVX is really important to Mars for three reasons. First, it is a absolutely world-leading cross-sectoral social innovation. It brings government, the private sector, and the community sector together to do something that none of them can do on their own. Secondly, the really important part of this is that it actually focuses on the really hard stuff. Sorry, Tom, not just making money. And thirdly, where it is positioned, it's really well positioned to drive change at scale because it sits in the heart of the system. And the other thing I think that's important here is that this is part of, as Tom alluded to, a really global movement around social finance and impact investing, and a recognition that we need to mobilize more private capital for public good because our challenges are getting more complex and the traditional funders everywhere are more constrained. And those amazing entrepreneurs that make it their life's work to actually tackle these big, hairy problems, they already know they need to find new sources of money. But it's difficult. There are many barriers, including cost of transaction, inefficiency of surfacing these important opportunities and bringing a new breed of investors to the table. And so hopefully the SVX can be a really important part of making that possible. The other part that is important is that a big challenge in the impact investing space is high-quality ventures, and we feel very privileged from a Mars perspective that we actually can bring our engine to build those high-potential, high-impact ventures to this process, because that's a very critical part. Now, as you heard from Tom, these important innovations follow a long and winding road, and he described a little bit of that process, but it is 6 years in the making. And where we are today is a first and very important stop along this path, where we have a local, impact-focused connection platform between high-potential investors, funders, and funds to drive new sources of debt and equity financing with demonstrable social and/or environmental impact. This is a very important stop of the way, but we're not stopping here. We want this thing to be part of mainstream finance, catalyzing new thinking, new doing around how we invest in the kind of future we want in Canada and that our children and grandchildren deserve in this amazing country. So I want to thank a few people who've made this possible. The first is the TMX group, who have been there right from the beginning, and Kevin's team, providing intelligence, smarts, knowledge, but also financial support and other resources. I want to thank the Government of Ontario that actually supported this idea when, frankly, it walked in the door in Adam Spence's head and could not be spun as a cool crowdfunding platform or anything else, but they had the vision to see this big idea and has provided long-term both financial and policy support. We owe a big debt to Tories who signed up for the pro bono work, but I don't think they told their bosses how much pro bono work this was going to require. So Aaron Ems and Catherine DeGusti, who deserve enormous credit for many, many hours of free legal services. The funders and supporters, KPMG, the J.W. McConnell Family Foundation, the Rockefeller Foundation, Hamilton Community Foundation, and RBC. Volunteer advisors, many of you are here in the room today. And then I also would be remiss if I didn't thank our small and mighty SVX team at Mars, Tristina, Carlos, and of course Adam Spence. Adam exemplifies my favorite quote from Nelson Mandela. The combination of a great heart and a great mind is a formidable combination. He's been a formidable young leader, and we all owe him a huge gratitude. So our commitment from Mars's perspective is to make this project something Canada can be proud of, and it's my pleasure to now introduce Minister Eric Hoskins.
Wow, that was impressive. Not only what Ilse said, but the fact that you said it completely without looking at any notes. And now I'm going to have to look down from time to time. One of the smartest things you can do at an event actually is create a hard stop when a politician gets up to speak. And so I know we've only got a few minutes before we have to press the button. So mercifully, I'm going to be brief. And I want to thank everybody for being here this morning. And thank you, Ilse, for your comments. And Tom and the TMX, of course, for hosting us today, let alone the support that you've provided to this exciting venture. This is, there are a few times when you get to participate in something which is really going to change the future. And this is one of those times. The launch of this platform, of the SVX platform, which, as we know, is the first of its kind in all of North America, is great news for this province and for the people who live here. But it's also great news for the country and, in fact, the world. The platform is going to go a long, long way to help grow more social enterprises in this province. So I want to congratulate, and I think we need to do a round of applause for Adam Spence because you referred to him. But Adam, who you know is the founder and key champion of the SVX. Adam, along with the team at the Mars Center for Impact Investing, worked very hard, as we've heard, to obtain regulatory approval, much more than just this, but the hardest part, I would imagine, was probably getting the regulatory approval, working closely and collaboratively with the Ontario Securities Commission so that we're here to launch the SVX. And from that initial conception 5 or 6 years ago to full implementation, I know that the building of the SVX has been both a labor of love but incredibly challenging. But some of the best things in life, especially something as important as this, do require that amount of work. And as was referenced, the Government of Ontario, I'm proud, I think we gave $20 out of somebody's back pocket to Adam when he walked in that first time. But the Government of Ontario is proud to have been there from the very, very beginning, as many others have as well. And so not only ourselves, but of course TMX Group, Causeway Social Finance, Tories, as was mentioned, KPMG, and of course Social Innovation Generation at Mars itself, and many, many others. I know that there were some challenges along the way, but the realization of this concept is a testament to the entire team's imagination, expertise, and remarkable determination to follow through. The SVX is a landmark achievement for Ontario and points to our commitment to make this province the leading social enterprise jurisdiction in all of North America, if not the world. And as Ontario's Jobs Minister, I'm in full support of growing our province's social enterprise sector, not only because it makes good business sense. 1 in 3 social enterprises in this province have revenue of more than $1 million annually, but because we also know that 50% of social enterprises employ people who have the most difficulty finding employment, whether that's young people, people living with disabilities, or First Nations. So the SVX platform will connect social enterprises. Adam, I like the way you referred to it as sort of the eHarmony of investing, or a dating service where you've got the investors on one side and you've got social enterprises on the other. There's good vetting to make sure both sides are reasonable people and investors and social enterprises, and you bring them together, and that's really important. It's going to connect social enterprises with impact investors and service providers to effectively get more private capital working towards public good. So it's very fitting that the SVX is launched here in Ontario, which is home to more than 10,000 social enterprises. So on behalf of the Ontario government, I'd like to officially congratulate everyone involved in making today happen, and I look forward to seeing the many positive ventures that will get the capital they need to scale up and grow as a result of the SVX. Thank you very much.